Yo, you hear me?
Yeah, man, what's good?
Hey, man, oh man, here we go, baby. I don't know if they're ready for this.
Yeah. How you
let's
feeling, man? You good?
go. Let me start. Let me intro it. Let's get it started. We only got 45 minutes. You're a complex dude. Yo, it's your
All
boy
right.
Brocky here, man. Whiskey and Kicks back for another one of these Sippin with Brocky segments. Zoom style. I got my man Valentino Bailey, aka Tino. What's good, brother?
Chilling, man, out here just trying to maintain, working through this pandemic. But
Yeah.
what's gonna happen? How you doing?
Hey man, I'm maintaining, man. Same thing, man. Working from home full time these days, and
Yes.
that's the Govy situation and whiskey and kicks.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So you in Miami right now?
I am. I moved down here about 3 years ago to do a career change, or as some people would say, blow up my life.
We gonna get to it, brother. Because listen, typically when I do these segments, I free flow it, and we're gonna do a little bit of free flow. But I had to put some notes down because you got a lot of stuff going on. You understand? So first of all, you from Jersey, dirty Jersey, right?
Dirty Jersey, baby, born and bred. Yeah, man.
Word. And what your people's West Indian?
Uh, so yes, West Indian by way of Panama. So
Panama.
my grandfather's side of the family is from Jamaica. They moved to the Canal Zone for the jobs, and then he was born in Panama. My grandmother's side is from Barbados,
Word.
and then they moved to the Canal Zone as well because that was where a lot of jobs were.
Okay. And then you said to where?
So they moved to Panama, and then from Panama, they moved up to New York.
Okay,
My
gotcha.
my dad and my aunt, they were in New York, and then from there,
So
history.
so are you like a first I'll say first generation military?
No, second generation military, first generation born in the States.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, word.
Uh,
So what part of Jersey were you in?
South Jersey.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
so we got Camden,
Yeah.
and I'm just north of Camden in Willingboro.
So what pushed you into what pushed you into the military, man? Because I know with you,
What?
you're very calculated in your movement. So were
Yeah.
you like that at that early age and going to the military?
No, I had I didn't want anything to do with the military when I was in high school. You couldn't tell me anything about the military.
Word.
Um, I was like, I'm getting out of this. I'm getting as far away from this. I'm going to be stable. Blah blah blah. Right. And all that blew up in like a year out of high school. I
Word.
got to college and was playing football, and it's like, man, I missed the discipline and the camaraderie and the family and all those things. And I very quickly joined ROTC.
Okay.
Yep.
And Army, right?
Air Force, actually.
Air Force. Wait, because you switched over, right?
Yeah, I did.
All
I
right,
did.
explain that. Explain that. So what happened with that whole thing? I don't know. We ever talked about this.
I'm gonna need a drink for this one.
Let's do it. Hey, you know what's crazy is that I picked out a Japanese whiskey because I know that's your thing.
That is my thing, brother. And we'll get into that little niche right there because I actually went to high school in Japan.
Oh, okay.
But right now I'm sipping on Larceny, which is a Texas small batch.
No doubt. No doubt. I know about
Uh,
Larson.
Texas will come up later in the conversation. It's got a sweet place in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I started out Air Force. I was Air Force ROTC. Wanted to fly,
Okay.
and so the most direct route you would think is the Air Force, right?
Yeah.
Um, uh, so I joined the Air Force. I actually had a pilot slot going into my senior year, and then I did some numb-headed things as
Okay.
a young, 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And, I left school for a year, joined the military, actually enlisted in the Air Force this time,
Okay.
um, and I quickly found my calling. I was like, yep, I was supposed to be here. As
So
soon as I got in, as soon as I got to basic, I went to basic training December 7th, 1999.
okay.
So I spent the 2G bug in basic.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's right. Well, Y2K, right?
Yeah, Y2K, that whole thing. I was
So
getting yelled at and screamed at.
when you enlisted, you went in like under IT?
No, I actually went in under finance.
Oh, okay. So that explains the financial part of Tino that I know.
Yep. So I'm an econ major undergrad. I was an econ major up until that point already. So
Okay.
when I enlisted as finance as a A1C. Went in. I met my chief master sergeant in tech school, and he was like, you're coming to Bowling Air Force Base. I was like, Roger, sir. And he was like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I was like, hey, I want to be a pilot. I want a commission. And he was like, okay, well, you're getting a little ahead of yourself. You're just
Right.
So I get to Bowling Air Force Base, my first duty assignment, summer of 2000. By the summer of 2001, I was back at East Carolina University, my alma mater, finishing up my final year on the Air Force's dime, scholarshiped up, paying for my last year of college through the ROTC early release program.
So, see, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's that up north. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make things happen the way I want to make them happen, kind of thing right there, because that doesn't happen a lot. Once people go in enlisted, a lot of people stay. Either they don't even know about the programs, or they just, they scared to try to make that transition from one to the other.
Absolutely, and I think me being so new, I just didn't. The rules just didn't apply to me. Right. Or so that I thought, and I just found a way. So literally my first stop when I got to Bowling Air Force Base was the education center.
Word.
Before I even checked into my unit, like I got there on a Saturday and I was like, is the education center open? And I went in there on a Saturday. And I started talking to the lady and she was like, there's this new program coming out. It's going to be the early release program. And if you have at least 3 years of college under your belt, or if you're going to go back you already have a bachelor's and you're going to get go for 1 year of your master's, this program will be just for you. And I was like, keep me posted.
Straight up.
And about 6 months in, the packet came out and I jumped all in. And a year later, retired Major General Hunt, I was asking him for a waiver and him to sign my packet so that I can leave Bowling Air Force Base. I didn't even have a year time on station. So I needed like 4 waivers.
Right. Right. And you got them joints.
And I got them.
Straight up. So, and that took you back to school full time?
Yep, for 1 year. I graduated. I was there for a year. Finished out my bachelor's degree in applied economics with 2 minors, aerospace science and business.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated the summer of 2002. So now 2000, I got to the base. 2001, I was back in school. 2002, I'm graduated. Great. And then I'm at my first duty assignment as an officer at LA Air Force Base.
And you're how old at this point?
23, 22, going on 23.
Wow. You said what Air Force office you said?
Los Angeles Air Force Base.
Oh, LA. Okay, word. Word. Okay, so then you're in the Air Force at this point still. So this transition from the Air Force to the Army, because I hate to breeze through this, but there's so much other stuff that I want people to hear about. You understand? And so, so you had this officer thing going on in LA. So explain the transition from the Air Force to the Army at whatever point that came at.
So we're fast forward to 2006-ish, and we're in the meat of the war on terror, right? Mm-hmm. OEF, OIF are happening simultaneously. We're in Afghanistan, we're in Iraq. However, the Air Force had received congressional mandate to plus up the officer corps. So you had officers at a higher capacity. We had more officers than we were allotted by Congress to carry on the books. And that means you had officers doing, lieutenants doing E6 jobs, tech sergeant jobs, you know what I mean? And it was crazy.
Sound like the Pentagon.
So Congress said, okay, you can't keep these guys on the books any longer. You have to right size the force or force shape. And so right around 2006, we started going through a series of force shapings every year, which basically they were taking year groups and they were cutting year groups by X percentage. So first they started with percentages of our career field. So whatever you did, your specialty, and they would cut some specialties 100% of that year group. So everybody they had to go that year. If you graduated in 2002, you're out of there. And then other ones took a steeper cut. Like I think mine took a 50% cut.
Word.
So, you make it through that cut and you're kind of like, okay, I'm good. I'm in the clear. And then they're like, oh, nope, we're going to do it again next year. And then the year after that. And so at some point you start to realize that, not only do I have to do my job, be great at it, but then I'm at the mercy of numbers.
Yeah.
And being a type A personality that I am, I'd rather be as much in control of my career as I can, even if that's, even if that's a mirage. I want to.
Right. As long as you feel that way.
Exactly.
So let me ask you. Let me interject. The cuts. Where did they leave people? They got cut. Did they get they got out of the military?
You were out of the military. So now you have two options. Either you can go into the Air Force Reserve, or you can do the Blue to Green program, and that'll go. That's going from Air Force to Army. Blue being Air Force, Army being green. The Army was hurting for people at the time. At the same moment in time, the Army is doing 15-month deployments. Their attrition rate is crazy. People are they're jumping ship left and right after their commitments up because it's just unsustainable. It's tearing families apart.
Right.
So the Air Force is like, hey, we'll start giving you guys, severance packages at this point because you've hit a certain minimum amount of time.
Right.
And the Army's like, we'll give you a bonus to come in. So I'm looking at the numbers like.
You can get both? You can get both?
Yeah. I'm going to get paid to get out and get paid to come in.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
But also at the same time, I had a TS, a top secret clearance.
Yeah.
I was able to leverage that in the civilian world. And basically headhunters were like, when you get out, call me. Because I was working at Space and Missile Center on programs out there, basically I just made a few phone calls and I literally had a civilian job before I got out.
Word. Before you got out of the Army.
The Air Force.
Oh, the Air Force. Okay.
What I did do is I went to the National Guard in Texas.
Oh,
so
okay.
Off active duty and went into one of the reserve forces. And we have in the Army, there's Compo 1, Compo 2, and Compo 3. Compo 1 is the active duty Army. Compo 2 is the Army Reserves. And then Compo 3 is the National Guard, which is run by the states. So I went to the Texas National Guard. Believe it or not, Texas National Guard is as large a force as the other 49 states and territories combined.
That makes sense. That's crazy.
So 50% of the National Guard is Texas.
That's nuts. Never knew that. That's nuts.
So essentially they have their own standing army.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of crazy, right?
Right.
So I joined the Texas National Guard, went into contracting, left finance, still branched finance, but went into contracting. And did that for 7 years in Austin, Texas, between Dallas and Austin, bouncing back and forth.
Right. So that's what you were. You were National Guard. Like when I came down to visit in Dallas.
Absolutely.
You were National Guard, but you were also working for AT&T, right?
I was working in their innovation labs. They're called the Foundries.
Mm-hmm.
They have them all over the world.
Because you had all the technology at the house and all that.
Yeah. So that's the innovation arm of the AT&T, and we basically formed synergistic agreements and things with other companies such as Ericsson, Disney, Sony, all these companies, and try to create and stimulate new technology and growth.
So you weren't necessarily doing IT stuff for them.
I was doing contract work actually.
Yeah,
so I was doing the NDA agreements and all this stuff, and the non-disclosures, the intellectual property agreements. I was writing up that language, but because of the nature of what I was doing, I had to understand the technology to a certain extent.
Right.
To be able to make those agreements.
So look, y'all. Look, for those watching this, man, if y'all know Tino, if you just meeting Tino, your professional path these days, just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But listen, man, when I came down to Dallas, it was so funny because Tino's working from home, so it's like I'm an early bird. I wake up, I'm ready to move around, and Tino like, yo, I gotta work till like the night before. He's like, I gotta work till 1 tomorrow. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll figure something out. And like 12:15, come out from his bedroom. I'm like, oh, this is working till 1 o'clock. Yeah, give me 45 more minutes, and I'm good. And then we go hit the streets. I love Dallas, B. I had so much fun. I was ready to move there. I don't know if I ever told you that.
I remember our conversation. I was like, hey man, when are you leaving? You were like, oh, I'll leave Monday morning. I was like, yeah, that's a bad move. We didn't need to move that because that Monday morning flight is not going to get met. And you're like,
Sunday in Dallas. Oh my God. But listen, man, I digress. So all right. So my next, what I want to take people as, one thing I love about you, son, is that when you want something, when you want to achieve something, you find a way to make it happen, right? As people are already seeing in this conversation. So you made a transition, like you were working AT&T, you were doing that thing, and you made a transition to an entirely different field, right? So talk to the people about what you wanted to do, what you identify you wanted to do, and how you kind of went about doing it.
So I think we all kind of get to a point where we're like, what's next, right? Where am I going, and what is my passion?
Right.
And some people are lucky to stumble into their passion first shot, right? Like they fall into it and they do it their entire life. Yeah. My sister's one of them. She knew she wanted to teach from, early on, and she stumbled into it and she absolutely loves it. It hasn't disappointed. For me, it was more of an Easter egg hunt, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, I think I want to do this. Let's try it. That was cool, but I think I want to do something else.
Yeah.
That too. And the beauty of the military is it affords you the ability to recreate yourself multiple times under the umbrella of one career.
Right.
So I did that, and then I was sitting in Afghanistan, 2015, and I'm emailing my mom. We're going back and forth, and I'm like, I think this is it. Like, this is it. I've done the things I wanted to do. I made the money I wanted to make, but I don't feel like I've left an impact. Mm-hmm. And now it's about, how do I leave my mark on this world before I leave, right? Mm-hmm. And so we were talking, and she said, what do you absolutely love, and what would you do for free? And I was like, man, the best part of my day is, in the gym is, teaching people how to move better, how to be better athletes, how to, old ladies, how to pick that bar up off the ground and deadlift things so they can play with their kids or their grandkids, and all these different things. So we started circling back to health, and health started to become a recurrent theme or undercurrent in my life. I got back to Dallas after that. I went back to AT&T, and I actually started working for the Health Foundry, which is out of Houston. Now it was like, okay, now this is coming back together. Then we started talking about setting up a Your Health Matters initiative at AT&T, which was expanding on the existing things that we had there, but really getting robust in the and tracking people and making sure that they're healthy and that they're taken care of psychologically and physiologically, because you get a better product out of your people. Less days, they're more productive, etc. And then then I started to manifest that into, what does this look like for me? What's the end goal, right? And it was really like, I want my own gym / medical facility. I want those two things, those two worlds to be merged, where you can come in, be seen for musculoskeletal issues, whether it's, rehabilitation from a traumatic injury or we're just trying to get a person that's been sedentary more conditioned, that they can come in, be seen by a doctor, from that doctor be handed off to either a physical therapist or an athletic trainer, run them through the missions, and then from there, once they're at a state of capacity, or what we call baseline fitness, right? Then we can move them into another area with a personal trainer or even a group training environment where they can continue on that path for their life. And I've seen iterations of it, but I haven't seen it in the way that I'm envisioning it. So then I had to reverse engineer it. How do I get to that point? You know, do I work for someone? Do I own my own business? And then you start talking about, you know, what degrees do I need? What certifications do I need? And then that lands you where I'm at now in this process.
So at that point you left that, because when I was in Dallas the second time, might have been the first time, but you explained all that to me. You said, man, you know, I'm thinking about, I want to do boom, 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 boom. It was very vivid and very precise. And then before I knew it, at a certain point, you left Dallas and you went to Miami, right?
Yeah.
So Miami, to the University of Miami, right?
Yes.
Full time.
Full time.
Full time. I'm like, this guy is a maniac, right? So first of all, you know how many times I've been to Miami and we've been there together. So I'm like, this guy, if anybody can last, it can make it happen in Miami and stay focused, is Tino. But for anyone else, I'm like, you're nuts if you think you're gonna go to Miami full time, son, and make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was definitely a process. So think about this. Before I actually pulled the trigger and got to Miami in 2017, I'd been working on this plan for 2 years.
Word.
So a year in Afghanistan, I had been just stacking.
Yep.
Putting money aside, preparing for the day when I was going to go back to school full time. And then a year in Dallas, I'm still stacking, but I'm also prepping. I'm doing site visits. I'm coming down here. I'm getting to survey the land. I'm meeting the professors. I'm doing all the logistical work that I need to do, right? Yeah. And the human intelligence in order to prepare myself for when I got here. And then I hit the ground running 2017, full-time student. The GI build, I utilized the military to its fullest. I got my MBA from BU, my master's and with a specialization in project management. And then because I accelerated that program, I still had about 18, 19 months left on my GI Bill. So I came down here, and because I wasn't a STEM kid, I wasn't a science, technology, engineer, math major, I didn't have a lot of science background. These programs require a ton of sciences to even apply, right? Yeah. So I searched and searched, and I found that Miami had an exercise physiology master's program, but it was more of an entry-level master's. So it allowed you to work through some of the things you needed to get through. Mm-hmm. By the time you got to your terminal degree of a master's there, which gave me kind of a nice segue into the next episode, right? Or the next degree. So I did my strength and conditioning master's, or my exercise physiology master's here in strength and conditioning at UM, in order to prepare me for my athletic training master's, which is essentially a PT, a physical therapist, and an EMT fused together.
Oh, word, yeah.
Field, right? Yeah. So we do emergency management. So if you're ever watching a football game and somebody goes down, and the people that run on the field, those are health professionals. They're allied health professionals called athletic trainers. Mm-hmm. They're not personal trainers by any stretch of the imagination. Right. They are very well trained individuals that have an emergency management piece, but they also have a rehabilitation piece, and other things that go on within their scope of practice. So that was the next iteration, which the final step is, for me, is most likely med school.
Okay, which is going to be coming up, right?
Right.
So, but before that, of course, your dream manifested in the form of Venom PT. Is that correct?
Correct.
So talk to them about Venom PT.
So Venom PT is a health initiative that we focus on 3 pillars, which are performance, recovery, and health, right? Overall health. And one of the things that struck me as I was getting into exercise physiology is learning about how certain health things affect my people, my population, African Americans, disproportionately compared to the rest of the population. So if we look at things like diabetes, and 1 in 3 kids will develop diabetes in their lifetime. That used to be unheard of. If you didn't have diabetes mellitus, which is like type 1 diabetes, which is genetic. Most kids didn't develop it. They call it adult diabetes because you would develop it as you got older.
Right.
Kids are developing type 2 diabetes now because of our nutrition, right? So then if you look at minorities, specifically Hispanic and African Americans, 1 in 2 chance, 50%. If you put 2 kids next to each other, one of those kids will develop diabetes.
Crazy.
And it's totally reversible. It's totally avoidable. But we have to get the information out to the people.
Yeah.
It's easier to digest information from someone that looks like you. I never had a doctor that looked like me when I was growing up.
Right.
You know, my parents had to tell me I could be a doctor. They had to tell me I could be a president because there was never a president that looked like me when I was growing up.
That right, son. Yep.
You know what I mean? But now we have an opportunity to be in our communities and to relate to those people in a way that no one else can. And I thought I wanted to work with athletes, and I still do to a certain extent.
I remember you mentioning that to me.
But this really struck a chord in my heart, and it said, hey, it spoke to me in a way that I didn't think it would. And so I started the initiative. I am working with people. I am watching them overcome obstacles and do things that they never thought they can do. Watching people reverse out of prediabetes to normal blood glucose levels and normal insulin levels. I'm watching people do things they never thought they could do. They were on their wish list. I want to run a half marathon, but they hadn't walked around the block in 3 years. They get off the couch and walk to the fridge and they're breathing hard. Now they've run their first half marathon. You know what I mean? And it's amazing because that is so much more rewarding than making an athlete who's already great. You didn't do anything. You didn't have any part of that. Their parents made you.
Right.
I just can hopefully make you better, right? But this is way more rewarding than that.
Dope. That's dope. You know, I mean, I've changed my lifestyle in the last 3 years. Lost a bunch of weight, and you know, I'm active, but you know, I like to ride my bike. I'm a cycler, and I'm a big walker. Like I walk miles and miles and miles and miles. So I keep myself fit, and I'm conscious of what I eat. But the stuff that I see you doing, son, on your Instagram, I'm like, yo, this guy is out of control, man. It's crazy, man. The type of combinations of exercises you put together is nuts, man.
Yeah. So one of the things I try to tell people is, you know, first off, let's try to get away from comparing, right? What you just said about what you do is amazing, and it's perfect because consistency is the thing that will win the race. You can't, if you're going to do something and it's crazy ridiculous, but you can't be consistent with it,
right?
You're better off not doing it and maybe stepping down and doing something that you know you can stick with, right? Because longevity is really what we're after. Right. Now, that being said, I am a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. So
a little bit.
Yeah. So I do try to find things that kind of push the limits for me. And rightfully so, because through all of this process, and remember we circled back to the beginning and I said, when I came in the military, I wanted to fly.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's time constraints on that. Like you have to be in the cockpit by 27 and a half in the Air Force. Then you have to have 20/20 vision. There's all these gates you have to get through, and they make it extremely hard to fly, but understandably, because they're spending a lot of money on you and they're going to put you in charge of a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment that can kill people. Right. So I get it. And so I thought that process and that path was done. Ironically enough, last year, I stumbled on a job in the Navy called the Aerospace Exercise Physiologist. And those are the people that work with pilots, divers, astronauts, special forces guys, and they work with them in non-terrestrial travel. So when we talk about terrestrial, that's anything on the earth or on the surface. But non-terrestrial is anything in the air, anything in the sea, anything in space. And there's different rigors it puts on the body, such as hypoxia or lack of oxygen in the air, right? What if you're at a high altitude and the partial pressure of air is just low, you can't get enough oxygen into your body. Right. Or if you're in space in zero G, for a long amount of time, that wreaks havoc on the bone density, and muscles start to atrophy or waste away. Or if you're down undersea, there's an immense amount of pressure on the body.
Right.
And that nitrogen can leak into the body and get into the joints and stuff. And if you come up too fast, you get this thing called the bends, where if you bend over, if you move a joint, because that nitrogen is leaked out, it hurts, it's painful, right?
Wow.
And you get to talk to those people about those things and train them on how to be better capable at their jobs. And then, oh, by the way, one of the requirements is you have to be a pilot.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I started this process a year ago, and I got the acceptance about a month ago into the program.
Man. Congrats, yo. There we go. I'm learning something new here. I didn't even know this. That's dope, son.
Yes. So going into FY21, which starts in October, I will be leaving to head to Pensacola for pilot school and physiology school. And I will be a naval aerospace physiologist, which is a healthcare profession, and a pilot.
That's crazy, sir. That's dope, man. I'm happy for you, man. But you own Venom PT? You started Venom PT, right?
I do. I am the sole proprietor of Venom PT.
You gonna keep that going?
I am going to keep it going.
Dope, man. That's dope. So, How long will you be in Pensacola?
So Pensacola will be about a year, roughly, for physiology school, and then API, which is aerospace pre-flight and doc, and then flight school.
When is this again? When does it start?
As soon as October 1st.
Damn, man, I'll get to come down to Miami to see my guy before he goes. That's crazy.
I'm going to try to stall it out because I'm in the mix of my second master's program here in Miami with athletic training.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if they'll let me stay at least until the end of the semester before I move out. And then I'll figure out a way to finish that degree while I'm in.
You going to take your puppy with you? You going to be able to?
He's going with me, definitely.
Dope, man. Dope. These things only 45 minutes. So I know time's starting to get a little short, man. But, like I said, I told people it's a lot to talk about. So this question I had that I wrote down, I'm not sure if you have an answer for it or not, but do you have any COVID tips from a diet perspective?
Yeah. So nothing really changes from the standard diet prescription. If you want to be healthy, then the biggest thing is maintaining diversity in your gut microbiome, right? And what does that mean? That means eating a variety of fruits and vegetables, predominantly, that will, to include herbs and roots, right? Mm-hmm. That will continue to feed the good bacteria in your gut, which has been proven to boost immunity and allow you to be more resilient in the face of different diseases. So if we're talking about just nutrition, which is one aspect of it, right? Having a healthy, well-balanced diet, trying to understand what your body what foods may be inflammatory to your body, and typically staying away from those things. Some people it's milk, some people it's meats, and not all meats. It may be specific meats like red meats or things like that. And then other people it's other certain foods that they just have an allergic reaction to, or they're pro-inflammatory to their body. But however, if I was to give you just one pearl, it would say, eat a wide variety of fruits and vegetables every day. 70% of your plate should be green leafy vegetables, fruits, things of that nature. Another 30% between meat and starch. Hand portions are pretty good. This size for meat, this size for starch, this size or both of these together for fruits and vegetables.
Word.
And multiple servings, 5 to 7, should get it done. You can make it smoothies, you can do shakes, you can do whatever you want. Just try to eat them as close to their whole form as possible, because as soon as you add heat to them, you start to break down the nutrient density in them. You'll still get some, but it's just not as nutrient dense.
So save those grandma's collard greens for Thanksgiving and stuff like that. Don't cook your collard greens for 3 hours on a regular day.
And then when you do cook the collard greens, drink the pot liquor.
The pot liquor?
So the pot liquor is the broth that's left over.
Okay.
Call it pot liquor.
Right? All the nutrients and stuff left over in there?
Yes. So
That's crazy. I never thought about
toss that out. Keep it. Drink it.
Word. Yeah, we usually straighten that out, right?
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff. Wow. Yeah, you can like put that in a bottle or something and use it for a smoothie or something like that later on.
Or just shoot it.
Or just do that.
Yeah, break up in the morning. Bam.
That's some Tino stuff. That's some Tino stuff right there, though, son. You shooting collard green juice.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
The average person is not gonna shoot collard green juice, but I'm with you, fam. I'm with you, man. But look, tell people where to find you, where to find Venom PT, and how to get in touch and so on and so forth, and what you can do for them.
Absolutely. So on Instagram, it's at venom.pt. You can find me there. You can find me on Twitter at venom.pt305. And then Facebook is connected to my Instagram page, so you can get right through there. Or you can find me on the web, www.venompt.com.
Dope, son. Look, Tino, man, I love you. You know what I'm saying? You my dude, you know what I'm saying? And I'm proud of you. I'm privileged to have smart friends. You know what I'm saying? You're one of them, man. So I wanted to get you on here, one, to talk to people, to give some insight about health, things of that nature, to sip some whiskey, of course, which I've accomplished for sure, and you have too. And to let people know about what you're doing down there in Miami, man, so they can get involved. And
the beauty about what I do at Venom PT is that it's a lot of it's remote based. So I can do remote patient monitoring through HealthSnap. We do Zoom meetings. I can do a lot of different things with people. I can write exercise prescriptions, all those things. And it's very important. We're going to jump back to that. As an exercise physiologist, a certified exercise physiologist, everybody can't write an exercise prescription. So all personal trainers are not created equal, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're going out into that world and you're trying to do those things, ask for those credentials. Find out where they went to school, what they did, if they have a science background in education in school. I'm not saying that's have to have, but it's a good thing to know, to understand the background of the individual. And then what certifications they took. If they are an exercise physiologist, if they have a degree in exercise science or kinesiology or exercise physiology, and they have a certification through the ACSM or the NSCA, the American College of Sports Medicine, or National Strength and Conditioning Society, then they have the prerequisites, and they've actually set for these grueling 2, 3, 4 hour tests to get those certifications on top of the degree requirement.
Word.
And they will typically understand your situation, whether it's a comorbidity that you may have, whether you're coming off surgery or an injury, all these different things, and they'll be able to prescribe exercise and a function in a way that you will, one, stick with, and two, actually flourish from. So that, I think, if nothing else, because in this COVID area, personal training has become like porn.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere you look.
It's crazy.
Trainer popping up every day.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they don't know what they're talking about.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So it's important to do your research.
Your research, man. Do your research. Don't just jump out there, whoever trying to tell you, do these types of push-ups and so on and so forth.
Exactly. Genetically, their body just may respond to a certain thing, and they look good, and they don't have to do anything. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
That's true indeed. True indeed. I thought about this quick little story earlier. I was going to tell it, but when we went to my man colleagues, a mutual friend of ours, we went to his wedding out in St. Louis. What was it, last year, right?
Yeah. A little over a year ago now. Yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Kentucky Derby that year, and I ended up going to St. Louis because I love my guy. So colleagues a little, he's feeling a little anxious, a little nervous, right? Was in the church and everything. Tino sits him down in the back room and gives him he's like doing him a massage and stretching him out, and he was like, "Yo, man, I feel better, man." Colleague voice, right? Yeah. That's when I was like, "Yo, Tino is about this life, son. He's about his life." So that's dope, man. Appreciate you sitting out here with me and doing this thing.
Absolutely, man. We got to do it again. You know, I've been bugging you trying to get you down here.
Yeah,
So
I know, right?
we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm trying to push it out to December, so hopefully we can, you know, weather permitting and the situation in the country permitting, we can get you down here before I roll. And if nothing else, I'll just be in Pensacola. We'll just both shoot down here and make it happen.
Not that bad, brother. Yeah. Hey, man, I'll holler at you soon, man.
All right, brother. Love you.
Love you too, man. Peace.